Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
This is super exciting. This is the forefront of potential healing for millions of people based on this gentleman's work and experiments that have led to something that is just, it's amazing in terms of energy healing. We've talked about this before. We're going to go deeper into it. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing this right. Scalar light. Am I saying that right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. He is Tom Paladino. He's the guy behind all of this. Tom, welcome back. How are you today?
I am well. Thanks for the invite once again.
Yeah, this is pretty amazing. And what's amazing, interesting, and challenging at the same time is this is not truly proven technology. It hasn't been proven either way, but essentially what we're talking about is taking somebody's photograph, having it analyzed by a certain piece of equipment, and that equipment using the transfer of energy, eradicating certain challenges, issues, bacteria, and more with people around the world. Am I explaining that right?
Yes, brilliant. Very good. A plus. Yes. It's a new science. Absolutely. What are we speaking about? We're speaking about scalar energy, scalar light. It's not electricity. This was first discovered by Nikola Tesla. He was the first man to harness scalar energy. In many ways, I've carried on with his work. I have scalar energy instruments that control this energy spectrum. It's not the flow of electrons. So I'm going to share with the audience, if I may, one of the instruments that I work with.
Sure.
That's a custom-built scalar energy instrument. That instrument is broadcasting scalar energy. And in so doing, I can work with people by way of their photograph. That instrument acts like a satellite and will find a person's force field. So this is not a biological process, it's an energy process. And I don't work with people in the flesh, I work with people's photographs. A photograph represents the energetic copy of a person. A photograph is their bilocated version, if you will. So this is the new science of scalar energy. I'm one of the few pioneering scientists that is continuing on with the work of Nikola Tesla to the point of instrumentation. Now, there are many theorists, but very few people have developed scalar energy instruments as I have.
And I want to share with the audience, some are listening, can't see that. Basically, what we were looking at were a bunch of wires going to what appears to be, it looks like a big tube, like an old school tube, which is kind of the heart of it. There's a bunch of different insulators, and essentially, to really get a grasp on what this is, we're all energy. It's all been proven decades ago. When you say to somebody, hey, I'm wishing you positive vibes, or I'm praying for you, having surgery, I'm praying for you, you are sending out energy. That's what the positive vibrations, the energy is going out there. So, and if, okay, I'm going to, I don't want to say I want to dumb this down, but this is how I learned. If you go to a party and you walk in and you say to yourself, wow, this actually feels pretty good, I'm going to stay here for a while. Just like it's not like it's a nice vibe going on. That's the energy of the people in the room, and you're picking up on it. Whereby you walk into a party and it just doesn't feel right. I don't know. I'm give them an excuse and get out of here. That's negative energy, and the vibration of people collectively, it's just kind of down. It's bringing you down at the same time. That explanation is the energy that's out there. And what I'm getting from you, Tom, is with this device, using something that looks at somebody's photograph, it puts energy out there for a purpose, healing, changing energy, right?
Yes, it does. And that's the point we'll take up on. This scalar energy it's all encompassing. A lot of people could call it good vibe energy. A lot of people could call it perhaps intuition or prayer or meditation. This is what I've tapped into. This is a non-physical, I believe it's divine energy. I believe it's from God. And yes, it's incredible what this energy will feel like. Now, I'll demonstrate to your audience one of the incredible manifestations of this energy If I'm working with a scalar energy instrument, it puts out so much energy it can illuminate a light bulb in my hand. So it fills an environment. That's where the word scalar came from. It actually fills an environment. It doesn't have direction. So you could see by this photograph, those of you who are watching by video, I am illuminating light bulbs in my hands. Those light bulbs are not plugged into anything. So this is the free energy of the future in which we will be able to illuminate objects without the need of wires or transformers, etc.
The device that's emitting the energy, and just to describe the picture, you're holding a couple of fluorescent tubes and some other bulbs. Yeah, about a foot away from whatever's emitting the energy, and they're they're lit better than the lights in my office, which I'm working on replacing. I'm not even kidding. What's emitting that? What do you call that? That where the wires are going to it and the energy is coming out of it. What is that?
That's the same instrument that I just demonstrated. And what we're seeing is the ambient energy of scalar energy that is so powerful that it can excite the gases of those fluorescent tubes and illuminate them. And I concur with you. When those tubes are animated, they are much wider than that of electricity. In other words, you'll have a much more clear signal, and the light in that light bulb is a white light as opposed to an opaque light when illuminated by electricity. Yes.
Yes, and I wondered if it was just the picture making it appear that way,
Yeah.
but apparently it is not. And I want to just interject one thing here in the proof that the transfer of energy works. And this was my aha moment. A couple of years ago, I had Reiki done. I think I explained that to everybody last time we got together, but briefly here, um, the practitioner was 1,500 miles away. She was doing Reiki, i.e., energy healing on me. I felt a difference, and she also was able to tell me certain things about my life. Nothing, revealing. And basically, she was talking about me and my love of kayaking, and that's my Zen moment. But she got into specific detail. There's no way anybody would be able to pull that out, except she was transferring energy and I was sending it back to her virtually 1,500 miles away. So there you go. It transfers.
You're right. It's an instantaneous communication. Exactly. So let me put this into motion. Now that I have this instrument, what can I do with it? Well, all of my work is with photographs. If I were to place my photograph inside an instrument, side by side a magnified photograph of the herpes virus, the two photographs would share information. Now, keep in mind, this is once again an informational process, it's not a physical process. So, the energy of the herpes virus, the signature enters into my force field. And if I were to have the herpes virus present in my force field, in my quantum body, that instrument would identify the herpes virus and break it apart. So
I
that
want
is
I want to
that's
show, for anybody that could get confused here, that you can't transfer a virus to somebody
correct.
by doing this.
Correct. I can't create life. Only God can do that. So what am I doing? I'm transferring the signature, and I'm able to take a photograph of a virus, in this case, the herpes virus, transfer the signal, and that signal will look for the herpes virus and then negate the molecular bonds, or what we call in the industry, it will unbind the energy. It will unbind the pattern body. All of this is non-physical action. There's no chemicals involved. This is not the biology of the human body. This is the quantum body, the etheric body.
What's interesting is when you take the photograph and place the photograph in front of the device, it's not looking at your face and your hair and your eyes. It's picking up, correct me if I'm wrong here, it's picking up on the energy
Yes.
from the photograph, right?
Yeah. Exactly. For instance, the fact that my photograph is inside that instrument, I bilocate. So I'm not treating anybody in person. I am treating their bilocated version. I'm treating their energy double. Imagine that. A photograph represents a person. It's not that I never work with people. I work with their representation, which is their energy field.
Could you now? I'm going to get a little technical here. Could you harness the energy coming off of something that they used. So let's say a hairbrush, a shirt,
Mhm.
something like that. Would it work in the same way?
So what? Anything that's placed in a scalar energy instrument will share information. So that photograph of myself not only is my quantum body sharing information, but the shirt that I'm wearing, okay,
Yep.
or the food that I just consumed that is part of that quantum body. This is the infinite information system. Many people are looking for that perfect information system where we can transfer data or retain or have data. Well, scalar energy is a perfect information system. Scalar energy someday will replace the computer industry.
So, and the reason we're talking about photographs here is you're offering the opportunity for somebody to get a free, I believe it's a 15-day trial of this simply by them sending their photograph, email address. Basically that's it.
Yes,
And you're
yeah,
not taking any information. I just, I know that people are very sensitive about that. Nothing's happening with the photograph. And again, I've said it before. Uh, your photograph can be found, on Facebook and Instagram if you're on there, which you probably are. So there's nothing, scary, proprietary, but it's 15 days of free sessions that Tom is offering. But again, why the photograph? Because that's something that you can virtually send. If I was in the room with you and I said, hey, you know what, I'm going to give you the shirt off my back, you could put it in front of this device, and would it work in the same way? Okay.
yes.
Wow. What is now the geek in me wants to know what is looking at the photograph or article of clothing, whatever it might be. What is interpreting that? Is it a type of camera? What is that?
Yeah, it's the energy itself. See, this is what's beautiful about this field. I don't have to create an infrastructure. I don't have to interpret anything. That instrument does all the interpretation. There's no human reasoning involved. The reason I use photographs, that's the source of information. If I use a photograph of a microbe, the instrument will look at the microbe, identify that microbe, and then break down the molecular bonds of that microbe. So this is fail proof. This is safe and it's guaranteed because I'm working with light. Light never makes a mistake. And that light instrument will be instructed to look for that microbe, in this case, the herpes virus, and break down the pattern body of the herpes virus. It's mistake proof.
I always say facts don't lie. People do. Facts don't lie. The fact is your energy that you're putting out. And you can change your energy. You can to a point, you can change the energy that you put out. Again, i.e., back to the analogy of the room, the party. If everybody was in a great mood, or they all collectively decided, hey, we want to be positive today. When you walked into that party, you would pick up on that upward vibration. Um, what is when you again? I'm this is the geek in me. When you put the photograph or the article of clothing in that area of your instrument, what is interpreting that energy? What is picking up on that energy? What kind of device is that?
the, the instrument itself, once again, is the interpreter. All I have to do is place any object within that force field. The key is if you have to be within the matrix or the field, or call it what you will. Within that energy signature, all information is known. So this really is the mind of God. This is universal consciousness. I do not think. I do not put my input into that. The energy knows. The energy has to be all knowing. It has to be some source of God's energy. Meaning what? We don't have to worry about human programming. The energy can be broadcast anywhere in the world. You don't need an expensive infrastructure. It's free energy from the sun and the stars. I don't need a gigantic power plant. I don't need a gigantic tower for this. Everything is miniaturized. This is a free energy device that can broadcast energy anywhere in the universe, and I don't need an expensive infrastructure.
Based on my basic knowledge of energy and how it all works, this sounds very reasonable. I and I'm a geek, so I'm looking even deeper at everything there. And even before we got on, I said I used to I used to build things and not even close to this level and intellectuality. However, I get it. But this hasn't been proven. And
Correct.
that's the, I go back to, maybe a question I asked previously a while back. Um, what kind of things have you heard from people that you've tried it out on?
That's the key. We have to rely upon testimonies right now. This cannot be proven because nobody has this type of instrument. In order to prove or disprove what I'm doing, you would need my type of instrument to try and duplicate my results. So I have to rely upon testimonies. Well, I'm showing now to the audience a PCR test, a polymerase chain reaction test for somebody who worked with us. And this individual had the herpes virus for over 10 years. And after 10 years of being infected with the herpes virus, this person sent us their photograph. I never met this person, by the way. Thereafter, the person had a follow up PCR test. And after the scalar energy session, there is no viral load for herpes. Now, that's the beginning body of evidence for what we're doing. People send us testimonies. I have to rely upon them because, again, I don't meet people, I only work with their photograph. But the people are saying that after a scalar energy session, they no longer have a viral load for herpes.
Interesting. So, have there, what about somebody, let's say, has eczema or something like that, where it's very obvious that it went away after they've tried many different things, and then they did the scalar instrument energy test with you. Have you ever gotten any things, something similar to that?
For instance, eczema. If they see that the contributing cause to their eczema is some type of fungal or bacterial skin infection, most people say that they feel much better after our sessions.
Hmm.
Probably because we're able to break down the pattern body of bacteria or fungi that causes the skin infection. So I can't give a blanket statement to anything. Why? I have to rely upon people and upon their testimonies. Obviously, there's no hospital in the world that's going to perform a test on a photograph. I work with photographs. I don't work with people. This is a new science. So it's not within the biological sciences. This is a new informational science.
You talk about a hospital, and what just peaked back in my brain here is when we talk about Reiki and energy healing. There are lots of medical facilities, surgical suites that are allowing Reiki to be performed before a surgery. And that is not just on the patient, but Reiki on the doctors to make sure that their energy is good when they do the surgery. So I bring that point up to illustrate that even the medical community is acknowledging that this energy thing is real. Different aspect of how you're harnessing it, but it is what it is. And also Reiki, how does that work? The energy goes where it needs to go,
Yes.
what your device does.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, this is the beauty of our work. When you pray for somebody, we'll let God dictate how they're healed. Now, I don't know what a person needs. There's so many permutations here, there's so many variables.
Yeah.
When you pray for a person, and if they're healed, well, so be it. Praise God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. You could see somebody. I'll never forget my son when he was not even 9 months old needed a lot of surgery. It was all like a last minute thing. It involved his skull. Started going back to church, and I remember a woman came up to me and said, "You look like you have a heavy heart, and I'm praying for you." She
Oh,
just knew. She just picked up on it. And everything turned out fantastic. He's the brightest kid you'll find anywhere. But she picked up on the energy and she sent positive vibes. And that's kind of how it works with all of this. And guess what? And I'm not getting religious here, but call it a prayer, call it positive thoughts. Even when you say my thoughts are with you, same thing. Um,
I agree. I
been around
agree.
forever.
Many people say think positively. There's a great deal of science behind that. Positive thinking, a thought, is a scalar wave. When you think, you're projecting scalar energy. So whether you have an instrument, as I do, or your mind, which is far superior, Your mind is a scalar energy vessel. Use it to the best of your ability. This gives great notion to positive thinking, positive affirmations, prayer, intuition. Yes, it's very much a reality. And the science behind positive thinking, it's a scalar wave.
I didn't know that. Interesting. Well, that kind of, that's like the wrapping up the package with the bow
Yes, it is.
in knowing that. Um, Tell us about the 15 days worth of sessions that you're offering at no charge.
Okay, why do we do that? We want people to experience this. This is groundbreaking. It's new. It's different. I don't know of anybody in the world who has my approach. So, in order for people to feel comfortable, anybody in the world can submit their photograph for 15 days of free session. Our website is scalarlight.com. Go to the website, just send us your headshot, just your bus shot, and you can include your family members with their permission, include your pets, and then we let you prove it to yourself. 15 days, no obligation. Go ahead and sign up.
What do you got to lose? And again, in terms of confidentiality and people worried about that, your picture's out there, so stop.
But by the way, after the 15 days, I destroy the photographs.
Yeah.
That's our promise to you.
And there's nothing that you can't do something in a negative fashion. It's not like you're sending out negative energy. This is, healing energy.
Yes,
Same thing if you were to go to a Reiki master, somebody to balance your chakras. What is that? Go Google it. It's legit. It's been around since ancient times. It's the real deal. Scalar, by the way, SCALER, light.
LAR.
LAR.
SCALAR.com. Scalarlight.com.
Wow. Definitely groundbreaking. And again, hasn't been fully proven here, but based on the understanding of energy, it seems very reasonable of what you're doing here.
There's a science. It is. Thank you. There's a science to this, and the road will eventually catch on to what we're doing. Thank you, Steve.
Final thought here. Have you tried it on, I have to think close friends and family, and gotten their feedback? Have they felt better? What other feedback? Maybe it's not in a testimonial here, but I just, verbally hearing it from you.
We have about 180 pages of testimonies on our website from people around the world.
Wow.
So I'll let that stand on its own. That's the body of evidence. Anything from herpes infection to Lyme disease to arthritis. Read the testimonies, then you decide.
Interesting. Fascinating. Just fascinating. And the geek in me wants to be in your lab. Look at
Come visit.
Stuff going on. And this is, goes back. Your inspiration was Tesla, who harnessed energy and was on the forefront of many of the products that we use today. It all started with him at the 1900s, the turn of the century then, right?
Correct. Exactly.
Wow.
He was a forerunner. God bless him.
Yeah. And set the stage for all of us. Website is scalarlight.com, SCALAR light, LIGHT.com. Tom, great talking with you. Just, fascinating learning about all this stuff. And give it a try, everybody. You have nothing to lose, nothing at all. You might feel better. You might be walking around in, 4 days from now thinking, wow, I feel better. Maybe it's the exercise. No, maybe it's Tom's device there, sending out the positive vibes and energy to you. And Tom, thank you again for being here. Fascinating stuff. Look forward next time we get a chance to get together.
We will.
Yep. And keep up the positive vibes.
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.